Rounding out the top five for this prep season Kentucky Derby point list is Roadster, one of a couple in here, a few in here anyway, for Bob Baffert. Has been ridden by Mike Smith in all four of his lifetime starts. That will change the first Saturday in May. Florent Giroux has the mount aboard Roadster for the Kentucky Derby because Mike Smith has opted to ride Omaha Beach. Now, Roadster was a very highly regarded horse as a 2-year-old. He broke his maiden very impressively out at Del Mar with this race right here, earned an 81 buyer by more than 4 lengths, beat a number of nice enough horses. Came back, and the defeat here in the Del Mar Futurity, sure, you see Game Winner in here. You see Row 8, and he's a nice horse as well. The response from Bob Baffert afterward was such disappointment. And it seems odd because he won the race with the eventual 2-year-old champion, Game Winner. But he was so disappointed in the effort from Roadster that, boy, it was difficult for me to get that out of my head. Then you find out that he had a little bit of a procedure, a breathing issue. They take care of that. He comes back, and this non-winner's a one other than on March the 1st out at Santa Anita. We're going to pick it up as they're rounding the far turn. He's got Nolo Contesto boxed in here, and say what you will about Nolo Contesto. I still maintain he's going to end up being a nice horse. But this was a nice ride from Smith to keep that horse hemmed in there. But this is a very comfortable effort from Roadster, considering this is his first start in about 6 months, 7 months even. Haven't seen him go 2 turns in his career. He's not out of first gear. Smith's just shaking the reins at him, and he goes off, and he wins very, very comfortably. Now, I had concerns about ultimately how far he wanted to go. This race was at a flat mile. How was he going to continue to proceed and stretch out? Well, we found that out here in short order. They come back in the Santa Anita Derby. This was a race that right about this time right here, I'm getting concerned because I don't think this is a blistering pace whatsoever. Instagrand is out here. We all thought he had distance limitations. Nolo Contesto is pushing things. But more importantly, you've got Game Winner out here in the clear. And with Roadster starting to lose ground, I'm thinking, boy, that's going to be a very difficult sort of obstacle for you to overcome. Not only does he lose ground, he starts dropping back considerably here going into the far turn. And it makes me think, okay, well, this is not going to be an ideal situation for the fans of Roadster. I picked him this day. I bet him this day. It's a scenario where you go, okay, well, maybe he's not quite what I thought he was. Until right about now, when he starts to find his stride, and everybody else is all out going for a home, admittedly. But boy, does this horse come with a very eye-catching move. Smith angles him out into the clear, and he just absolutely rolls over the top of this field. And sure, Game Winner digs in, but that's what Game Winner does. He is just stubborn, and he doesn't want to lose. He's a cool, blue-collar, absolute rock-solid racehorse. But Roadster, when I see this, and Smith isn't really getting into Roadster, I don't think he got to the bottom of this horse. There's a part of me that looks at it and says, you know what? You might have something here. Now, the distance, additional 1/8 of a mile on top of this, maybe or maybe it won't work for him. But what he did there, coming from so far off the pace against good horses, it leads me to believe that you're dealing with the goods. Now, the interesting thing to compare for Roadster is the speed figures with the Santa Anita Derby. The 98 buyer puts him right there in the thick of things. The raw 113 time form US rating puts him on the slower side as opposed to some of the big horses. Omaha Beach, I believe, earned a 121. You have a horse like Tacitus who's up in the 119 range. Other horses that are in the high 110 range as opposed to Roadster, who to date is on the low 110 side of things. Does not mean that he cannot improve. I look at this horse and say he continues to improve. I think he's only going to get better as more seasoning is involved. And not that he's unprofessional by any stretch, but I just think third start off the bench, you might be looking at his best effort. Now, he's never shipped out of Southern California, something you got to keep in mind. But boy, if you want to just excuse the futurity at Del Mar and say he had a breathing problem, what has this horse done wrong? He's shown versatility. He can be forwardly placed. He can come from off of it. If the pace is too hot, he's not one of those horses that is dependent on the lead. I think there's a lot to like about Roadster. Oh, by the way, he's trained by a guy named Baffert. And Baffert knows a thing or two about winning the Kentucky Derby. It'll be very interesting to see how the wagering goes for Roadster. I don't know that he'll be the favorite. He or Tacitus, who's going to be the second choice? Because I think Omaha Beach will be the favorite. I think there's a scenario where Tacitus is second choice, Roadster is third choice in that 7-1, 8-1 range. If that's the case, I think you can make the argument that that's a very, very square price on a horse that really, to date, has done nothing wrong. Roadster's going to be a fascinating horse to watch as we lead into the Kentucky Derby. 1.25 miles, who knows? But boy, what he's done so far, I think he's been very impressive to date.